What's up, Ravens fans? I'm ready to rock out with my flock out, and we are 60 subs away from 6,000. So if you want free videos around the Baltimore Ravens, if you chuckled just maybe a little bit, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and let's get this freaking channel to 6,000 subscribers. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to be talking about Chuck Clark because there is a lot to discuss. We're going to talk about what an insider had to say about this whole situation going on with him. And then near the end of today's show, there's been a lot of talks since the Marquise Brown trade. Could the Ravens go out and get a wide receiver? We're going to discuss two big-name free agents, and that's what's going to be coming up here on today's show. The first story here is around Chuck Clark, and is he leaving Baltimore? Well, it would definitely make some sense if it was up to me. The Ravens added two safeties this offseason. Kyle Hamilton, who Tom Downey actually had as his number one overall prospect entering the 2022 NFL Draft. They took him at number 14 overall. You also went ahead and you signed Marcus Williams to a 5-year, $70 million deal. And to me, Marcus Williams is one of the best young safeties in the National Football League. So you have your two young safeties, both under the age of 25 years old. Clark has removed all things related to the Ravens on his social media. And in today's world, the world that we live in, when a player does something like that, you should absolutely look into it. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to leave, but it obviously means something, right? So a lot of speculation is that he wants out of Baltimore. Here's what a beat reporter from The Athletic who covers the Ravens had to say. I don't know if he's officially asked for a trade. That I cannot confirm. Do know that he's apparently unhappy with how a few things have played out this offseason. There's certainly something there. And I can understand the frustration, not because he's not up for the challenge. It's reading the tea leaves. He had an okay season back in 2021 where he had 80 tackles, 2 interceptions, 12 PBUs. I don't know if you're ever going to get the year that he had back in 2019 where he had an over 80 overall grade according to PFF in terms of coverage. Can he tackle? Yes. Is he around the football? Sure thing. But if I'm looking for a safety, I want somebody who can cover. And in today's NFL, that's what you need. And since 2019, Clark has taken a step back in that whole regard of being able to cover. Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, those are your future safeties in Baltimore. Now coming up, we're going to be talking about what head coach John Harbaugh had to say. Harbaugh discusses the whole Clark situation and everything going on around this. So, first, though, I want to know, should the Ravens try to trade Chuck Clark? Go down and type Y for yes or type N for no, and we're actually going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So, if you're like, yes, they absolutely should, I want you to go down while you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break and let me know, should the Ravens try to trade Chuck Clark? Well, here's what John Harbaugh had to say on the entire situation. Everybody's role is what it is. That's why, as a coach, you're so excited about. The idea is to have as many good players as you can have and have them in the right spots and the right rules. I love the fact that we have very versatile players in the back end and at safety. So to me, Chuck Clark is a big part of this team, and I'm planning on Chuck being here. I'm not going to worry about all the other stuff. The other stuff is the other stuff. It's part of pro football. I understand it. But I love Chuck Clark. I love the way he plays, and I'm very happy that he's a Raven. So that's what John Harbaugh, head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, had to say about the whole situation. And I could understand his frustration because, think about it, right? If you're at your job and you see somebody's being brought in to take your job and your livelihood, of course you're going to be on the defensive side about it. So I will say this, though. Yes, we're talking about Clark, and I feel for him and everything he's going on, but this is the Ravens rundown. And the Ravens, they have themselves what I like to call a good problem. And when you have a lot of good players at a certain position, it's a good problem to have. So God forbid if Kyle Hamilton goes down with an injury. God forbid if Marcus Williams goes down. You're able to bring somebody in who has been able to step up and play pretty well, and I would say knows what the Raven way is, coming in, playing hard on every single snap, first guy in, last guy to leave type mentality, and Clark has all of those intangibles. But you have a good problem to have here. Here's also what John Harbaugh had to say on the whole safety depth, we'll call it in air quotes, issue. We're very deep at safety. We were deep at safety before, and then you had a guy like Kyle Hamilton, and the depth explodes in your face. Giggity. It's like, man, the depth chart is full with really good players. We know all the guys that are playing back there. Chuck, we know about Chuck. You guys have seen Chuck. He's one of the best safeties in football, in my opinion. Marcus Williams obviously was a high-priced free agent that we were pleased to get. After that, Tony Jefferson. Tony Jefferson can play football. Geno Stone is a really good young safety. Brandon Stevens, who started last year at safety for us, he also has corner flexibility. With all those safeties, he's probably going to be moving a corner a little bit and playing, but he can play all those spots, so their flexibility there, I'm really happy with that group. So we just talked about a lot of versatility. We talked a lot about the depth there. And in this division where you're going to have Deshaun Watson, yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mitch Trubisky is questionable, but they still went ahead. They were the only team that went ahead and took a quarterback in round one. And then you got Joe Burrow. You need to make sure that your safeties are able to come up and step up and play in a whole bunch of different roles. So whether it's going to be Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton, whether you want to run out 5 defensive backs and maybe that's Chuck Clark, Jefferson, Stone. Hell, I even like Ardarius Washington, and I've always been a big fan of Ardarius Washington when he first came out of TCU. I don't really think Kyle Hamilton was on Baltimore's radar, but when a player like that falls to you, you just take him. Why? Because he's a hell of a football player. So here's your opportunity to be the judge. I want you to rank the Ravens safety depth chart among all NFL teams. And personally, when I look at depth charts, I look at a site called Our Lads, so you can go ahead and check it out there if you're wondering, where the heck can I find safety depth? That's where I would go ahead and rank it. They're definitely top 5. Might be top 3, but you guys can go ahead and let me know. Rank the Ravens safety depth chart among all NFL teams right now. If you're ranking them number 1, well, then guess what? You guys are going to love some of this new Kyle Hamilton jerseys and gear that we got. Chatsports.com/Kyle Hamilton. Whether you want a jersey, jersey shirt, yes, we combined it. If you just want the regular jersey, we have them available as well in all sizes, men, women, available at the link that you see below. It's chatsports.com/Kyle Hamilton. And yes, the number 1 is on there. But if he goes ahead and he picks another number, or whenever he announces it, then our sponsor will update the graphic and you will get the number, I promise, that Kyle Hamilton is actually wearing. Could Jarvis Landry be on his way to Baltimore? The Ravens are interested in signing Landry, and he hasn't heard anything from the Browns. So one of the things that I've actually talked about on other Chat Sports programming is if I was Jarvis, I would look to go to a team where I believe that I can help out right away. And if I was a team like the Baltimore Ravens, I've watched Jarvis Landry on the Cleveland Browns. And Jarvis absolutely has some talent. You saw what happened with Cleveland when Odell Beckham Jr. left Baker Mayfield shit show, goes on over to the Los Angeles Rams. People are like, wow, this guy can still play football. I'm telling you right now, Jarvis Landry can still play football, and he could really help out this team a lot. You have Rashad Bateman, who's probably going to be your number 1, but there is a hole here. There is a gap left behind because of the, we'll say, Marquise Hollywood Brown trade, which, sure, you're not going to be able to replace him with Jarvis Landry because they are 2 totally different receivers. But you know what? In 12 games last year, Landry had 52 grabs, 570 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a first down getter. He's somebody who you're looking for on 3rd and 1 in the red zone, which is a very important trait to have, especially for a quarterback like Lamar, which I know he's been in the league for a long time. He's got an MVP, but he is still a young quarterback. Young quarterbacks need safety blankets like Jarvis Landry. And I would have a lot more confidence in Landry playing a full 17-game season because last season was the first time in his entire career where he's missed more than 5 games. Now, this is where I would say Jarvis Landry is like hitting a single. You know what you're going to get, which is good. If you want to swing for a home run, why not go out and try to look for a guy like Julio Jones? There's a good chance Julio doesn't play a lot. Why? Because over the past 2 seasons, Father Time has caught up to him. But I do know this. If you can get 14 games out of Julio Jones, it's worth it. Because 14 games out of Julio Jones is a lot better than a lot of other receivers at 17 games. So hypothetically speaking, if you could only sign one player, who would you sign? If you think it would be Julio Jones, I want you to go ahead and type JJ. If it's Jarvis Landry, I want you to go ahead and type JL. If you're a diehard Ravens fan and you made it this far in the video, then remember, hit that subscribe button. turn on those notifications. You're not going to find another channel that keeps you up to date with the flock than us right here at Chat Sports.